In this video, I impersonate Gary Vaynerchuk and answer your questions about cerebral palsy. You ask questions and I'll answer them. I am Gary Vaynerchuk, and this is the Ask About CP show. Now, for those of you who have no idea what cerebral palsy is, obviously it's your first time watching me, but those 4 of you out there who this is the first time you're watching me, cerebral palsy is a neurological disability. It impacts everyone who has it differently. Where me, I walk unassisted, just with awkward gait. Others might be in a wheelchair or use a cane or crutches. It really, again, varies on the person. And then some individuals, they have speaking impediments. Other individuals, they may use assistive technology to speak, albeit an app that does text-to-speech or a speech board. And now to learn more about cerebral palsy, let's get into your questions. Gary asks, what has been the most challenging and what has been the most rewarding experiences with CP? The most challenging experiences has been the ones that brought me here. When you have a physical disability, I'm full of confidence now, but that wasn't always the case. When you have a physical disability, you are physically, you lack compared to your peers. You are weaker. And when you think about weak, you think about word association. You think inferior. And so it's pretty hard. It's a lot of that. Most challenging is getting over your own self, getting over that own negativity in your mind when you think about having a disability. And getting over that, in a way, has been the most rewarding experience. But more than getting over that negativity has been coming here and connecting with others with cerebral palsy online through these videos and getting to know individuals and help them out on their own journey. That, don't edit that, D-Rock. That has been the most rewarding aspect to having cerebral palsy, is being there and connecting with others and showing them that they can win. Because again, that weak, inferior attitude, you don't feel like you can win. It's getting to that point. The most challenging part is getting to that point where you realize you can win. And then with technology, it's been great. Social media, you have that power to connect with others with cerebral palsy and show them that they can win too. And just all go out there and just win in our lives. What's the next question, India? Daryl Perry asks, how do you blend cerebral palsy into your personal brand? Answering your question, Daryl, this isn't even just CP related. This goes along for anybody with any kind of personal brand. When you think, let me answer your question with my own question really fast. Think about what makes brands, what brands out there stick out to you. And you figure out why those brands are sticking out to you. It's because they have separated themselves from the competition. They put the personal and personal brand. And that's exactly what you have to do with your brand. Is whatever I said it earlier. Cerebral palsy is different for everyone who has it. So whatever makes cerebral palsy unique for you, That's what you have to implement into your story. That's what you have to implement into your brand's story. Everybody knows I'm going to buy the Jets one of these days. Now, the reason I'm going to buy the Jets is because at first the idea was to play for the Jets. But then realizing because of my cerebral palsy, I wasn't going to be a football player. I wasn't going to make it to the NFL. I decided what's better than playing for the Jets? Owning the team. And I've made that a part of my personal brand. Part of the Gary V brand is that Jets future ownership. And you have to figure out whatever. And again, it was all motivated by the fact that I have cerebral palsy and playing football in the NFL wasn't an option. So you have to figure that out, Daryl, with your brand. What makes you unique with your CP, and then you just gotta go out there and incorporate that into your personal brand. Final question.
James Schleicher asked, what's the biggest misconception people have about cerebral palsy? What's the biggest battle you have?
Alright, James, I'm going to start with your second question. It's that, what's the biggest battle you have? And earlier in this episode, I was talking about the negativity and overcoming that negativity. Well, there's a physical reality also that comes with having cerebral palsy. My biggest battle, and I'm sure a lot of people out there with CP would agree, that the biggest battle you face is that daily battle, that daily grind against your own body. I can stretch and I can exercise, but I'm going to have to do that every day, every week, consistently, because every morning I'm going to wake up and my hamstrings are still going to be tight from my cerebral palsy. It's the grind against your own body. That is the toughest battle. And the best way, and what's worked for me to really handle that grind, is just you get into routines where you have just maintenance. It's your life. You're either going to have to stretch or you're going to suffer the consequences. So it becomes something you have to do. But that battle, that consistent battle against your own body, that grind against your own body, that I would call the biggest battle having cerebral palsy. The biggest misconception you've asked is quite simply that, and this is kind of ironic because I just talked about how our bodies are different. Like, our bodies are different, and so there's that body being different. But at the same time, you got to keep it. There's the biggest misconception about cerebral palsy out there is that we with cerebral palsy are different from you without cerebral palsy. In fact, another way to say that is the fact that there's this myth that there is something called normal out there. Normal is manure. Normal, fire truck normal. It doesn't exist. It's a myth. We're all have something that makes us different. And that really is it. We each have something that makes us different. If you think about it, whether it's cerebral palsy or something else, maybe it's your family life. Maybe it's your own entrepreneurial pursuits. Whatever it is, everyone has something different. And that's the punchline. The punchline is this: we're all different. And that is the question of the day. Answer in the comments section. Answer, don't be embarrassed. Share how you're different. And figure out how that makes you a better person, how that makes you an asset. I'm Gary Vaynerchuk. You keep asking me questions, and I'll keep answering.